donor-funded program in Africa, the Ogun State Economic Transformation Project. And about 80% of this opportunity is in agriculture. We are starting a new one on World Bank. We are also collaborating with this Harvest Plus, which is one of the biggest donor in food and nutrition, so that our farmers will be linked to bio-fortified crops. They start growing vitamin A cassava, vitamin A meat, because in this pandemic, what will give you satisfaction is not only food, but food that will boost your immunity. And then we are also partnering with private sector so that all the moribund infrastructure, all the food processing location can be handed to the private sector participants so that they take the lead in food production. We have successfully linked young people, the stand-alone people, to agricultural opportunity of land. We are currently clearing land in 17 locations in the state to be handed over to young people for agricultural opportunity. And then in the last 2 months, Central Bank of Nigeria has disbursed over 700 million naira to known people in the state, people that would know their name, their VBN number, their farm, for a single crop. About 27,000 young people register for cassava opportunity. That's the highest in the world, in a single state, for a single crop. Why? Because our state, globally, Nigeria is the highest producer of cassava, 53 million tons. And out of this, 10% of this come from Ogun State. 90% of the biggest buyer of cassava in Nigeria, they are from Ogun State. And this is an agricultural opportunity in processing. And how do you engage young people in this? So what we are doing is to cluster young people around agricultural opportunities. And we've been able to do this successfully. I think our state is the only state that flagged off the planting season amid pandemic. We are the first amid pandemic. And during this pandemic, you also notice that we've not closed up the rural area. The rural economy is working. Because one thing the virus is doing is to sack people from work. And historically, when people are out of work, it's only one profession that we absorb, and that is agriculture. We can't close agriculture. And you know that our agriculture is labor intensive. As I speak in the state, let me tell you the activities that are going on in this state, in the rural area. People are planting, they're buying seed, they're marketing. So this, we have actually strategically support location, food production and processing locations, so that people who are well positioned to produce food, they are specifically and strategically supported so that food production will go on. And let me tell you what we do, because most of the time, people, one of our program that's very popular now is Anchor Bora program. Anchor Bora, what they call Anchor Bora. So, why are we anchoring people? Before now, if you want to farm, you need to go to, probably you can go to the village, struggle with land grabbers, or go and look for loan, then borrow inputs. At the end of the day, you might produce, there's nowhere to sell it. So that means farming support is key, and that's what we have done successfully. One, we have provided land, if you want to farm. And in the Southwest, it's different from, the vegetation in the Southwest is different from the one you have in the North. Our land, they're full of storms. So one of the impediments, problem of farming in the southwestern Nigeria is land clearing. And then as I'm speaking here, we have cleared 2,500 hectares of land for young people. And then one of the things you need to also confront if you want a career in farming is that, where do I get my input? Very important, whom do I sell to? And how do I get money? And again too, do I go back to school? Who will teach me? 5 areas that you need to be anchored. That's the meaning of our Anchor Border program. And we have actually anchored smallholder farmer, youth farmer, investors, etc. Because of our geographical location in the state, people really want to do business with Ogun State, either you like us or not, because we are very close to one of the biggest economy in Nigeria, Lagos. And then we've got land. We have 1.2 million arable land in Ogun State. And 70% of these, they are still waiting to be cultivated. So, agricultural opportunities that we have in Nigeria today, they are based on about 3 or 2 things. One, foreign investment, direct investment in agriculture and processing. People who want to come to Nigeria, Ogun State, from Denmark, from Italy, from this and that, to site processing facility. Please, I know that your tomato is wasting in Nigeria. Can I come and site a processing facility? Your mango is wasting. Your cassava, can I come and try? So that's an opportunity. When people come, they don't come with their farmers. Those investors, they just come here and site a processing facility, and I say, fine, I need 100 tons per day of tomato. They are only here with processing facility, but what we have done in Ogun State, say, fine, come and site it here. Our young people can farm. So the responsibility of the Ministry of Agriculture is to quickly gather 2,000 or 3,000 young people and say, this factory is here. They are needing 3,000 tons of tomato per day. Please attend to it. Yeah, that's what we are doing. But
so the fear that the fear that farmers do entertain over the years that after producing, after farming and harvesting, my produce will perish. You know, it's no longer there.
It's no longer there. So those are the people we call off-takers. I've come here with my processing facility. I can farm. Your land is good. You have young people that can farm. So they sign off-take agreement with these young people with 2 things: guarantee minimum price, guarantee maximum price, and guarantee market. And it's done in a stakeholder manner. Stakeholders are engaged. But what we are doing as in the Ministry of Agriculture, we are just moderators. We are connecting value chain actors together. I say, here, welcome Mr. So from Italy. This is our farmer. They are going to sell to you at so price. But what we are doing differently, and what is very exciting and working for us, is that the Ministry of Agriculture has been mandated by Mr. Governor that all our farmers participating in the Anchor Border program, give them free training. Because if you need to supply to the factory, it's different from when you want to supply to my market in Obafe or Kuto market. Because there are quality issues, there are yield issues. You must attain certain level of yield, which we call competitive yield, before you can be a supplier to the industry. If you want to supply maize to Buri, they will tell you must be to dry very well, this and that. And then your yield must be within level so that when you buy from them, then you also be happy. So we are connecting people together, providing opportunities for the farmers. And close to 50 investors have responded to the call of Mr. Governor to come and invest in Ogun State because we have value chain coordination. All the 70,000 or so people that are registered in agriculture, one of them is based on direct investment in processing by foreign people, by local people. Then there's another one that I call import substitution. So most of the things they use in big industry today, it can no longer import because of whether the border is closed or we're importing. So people who are using wood flour before, they're looking at cassava flour. People who are using importing glucose syrup before, they are looking of syrup from industry, in the brewery industry, in the pharmaceutical industry. They're all looking at local raw materials. So there's great advantage in primary production. That somebody must teach them. Ministry of Agriculture is also teaching them. Somebody must organize them. There's another one, export trade, export promotion. People in the West, they have developed appetite for what they cannot grow. You understand? The vegetable that they love very much can only be grown in this country. Some of these countries, you can only farm for 2 months. Yeah, where they even drink a lot of coffee, they can't grow it. So we are also encouraging our young people to produce and catch on international appetite. So some of our young people want to key into export promotion. And recently in the States, we signed an agreement with the European Union and government of Germany to produce vegetables for EU market and local market. And we are encouraging people to go into intensive production. And so those are the opportunity we are then recently to have border closure. Eat what you grow. So border closure is another opportunity. So we are leveraging on agricultural opportunity to satisfy our people. And we are working with our association. I said 3,500 young people already linked and got money from Ministry of Agriculture and the state program. As I speak, rice is on the way, cattle is on the way, maize is on the way. All of them we have with off-takers. And in this difficult period, we are supporting all food processing and food production locations so that their capacity to produce food will be enhanced.
Now, you talked about linking farmers with investors. Yeah. Now, we also understand that sometimes some of these investors may be tempted, to want to exploit these farmers if government does not really have a plan in place to ensure that the investors, there is a rule really that guiding their activities, their business activities. So what plans really do you have in place to ensure that these farmers are not exploited by these investors?
Yes, thank you very much. The way it works is that we start from where we call town hall meeting. So in the town hall meeting, we have the input supplier will be there, the off-taker will be there, government will be there, all the stakeholders will be there. And then in the town hall meeting, we come out with economy of production. Even the financial anchor will also be there, the central bank, NISA, Wema Bank, Zenny Bank, etc. The farmers will agree with, this is the input I want from you at which this price. This is the time I want to uptake. This is my yield. This is the organization I recommend to provide extension for me. These are value chain actors. So the Ministry of Agriculture is inside of value chain coordination. And three things will come out of it. One, the price at which they take the product, minimum or maximum. And then to guarantee market. And again, too, as the umpire, we also have mediation arrangement. So we've had cases where we have to summon some obstacle and say, fine, you sign this agreement, take. You can't change the rule. So what we're doing is supporting agricultural value chain activity. So, and in Africa, trust in value chain activity is key. So long as the investor realizes that there's an umpire, so they won't do that. And again, too, those guys have invested in machinery, and they want to run it every day, every year. If you toy with farmer, next year, you won't get produce. That's what happened to cassava in about 6 years ago. So we are teaching them to invest in machinery and to also invest in farmer and to invest in relationship. So investments in relationship by processors will actually save the farmer and stakeholders from toying with value chain development activities.
Now, Dr. Anybody watching this program who has not really been familiar with this sector in the last 1 year in Ogun State is likely not to believe that this government has done so much in 1 year because of the way you've been reeling out all of these achievements. Now, what has been the fundamental strength of the state that has made us achieve all of this in under 1 year?
I think the first person that gave us the right injection was the Mr. Governor, who said, fine, agriculture is going to be our focus because we can use it for job creation. And even me, I've been doing this job for the past 35 years or so before I became the commissioner. I've not seen a place, a state, that a governor said, fine, I will use agriculture to empower you. And within 1 month, 60,000 people said, fine, we believe you. We just roll out the program, we will enroll. And again, too, we have a role. You know, when we were appointed, the governor took us to a retreat in Peru. and they brought out all the players in the industry, agricultural industry, and said, fine, I need your roadmap in such a way that you would do farming will be supported, people will get jobs. And we have an approved roadmap. And in ESCO, your roadmap is actually your letter of appointment. What I mean is that you share it among everybody, that this is going to be what I will achieve. And the support from government has been very huge. And I'll tell you, probably Mr. Governor so far has been the only person who flagged up successfully, climbed on a tractor, operated a mechanical cassava planter. And that was a boost to everybody and to youth. So, and again too, we don't want to take away our geographical location, our area of strength, of we have land and our geography. And investors too, they are trooping in. So when you have 60,000 people to give job to in agriculture, that's not the time to go and sleep. And when you also have a situation where there's an impending food crisis, you know, when we were planning this, we weren't even thinking about the pandemic. So, but we have pillars big enough that we are able to absorb the pandemic situation. So if you go to all our input centers now, you get things to buy. And for the first time, in an exciting manner, Mr. Governor is going to flag up on Wednesday what they call free input distribution for maize and cassava to smallholder farmers.
How do you determine these raw farmers that are going to get input?
And yes, and again too, I'm sure it's going to also make some other pronouncements to support rural farmers. You are a smallholder farmer, probably if you are cultivating less than 2.5 acres of land. But I'll tell you how we determine that in Ogun State. You know that in each local government area in this state, in our state, we have minimum of 4 extension agents. Those are our soldiers in each local government. They know all the farmers there, and they've been working with the farmer. So we are going to go through the extension agents. They know all the farmers. But farming in the states and Nigeria, you do need a license. So everybody that you raise up your hand that I'm a farmer, you're going to be supported. And we're going to be supporting, their target is 40,000 farmers. We're not going to give them planting material for maize and cassava, cashew and cocoa. So that they not only add this to their food security activity, we are diversifying the state with improved planting material. Because if you give them and they plant in the corner of their state, next year, they use it for their seed and their food security needs. So the big guys will go to our input center and buy their inputs because it's there. So amid restriction of movement, amid pandemic, we were able to move in our fertilizer, our seed. Yesterday, 10 tons of planting material and maize entered the state. And then we are expecting 10,000 bags of fertilizer from federal government. So
we also like you to specifically tell us where people can actually buy these inputs. I mean, places where they can get inputs.
We have 9 agro service centers in the state. Okay. One is we have in Ilaro, and then we have agro service center close to every local government area. And the way it works in agricultural extension is that each extension agent is actually an agro service center. And then we are going to be coming out with a publication that you have the full number of all extension agents, and we place it in all local government headquarters in the state. So the way agriculture works is that farmers training is continuous. It's 2 weeks, training and basis. Those who are farmers know their extension agent. But we know now because of this pandemic situation, everybody wants to have a bit of farming. So we make it open, we publicize numbers and name, and then there are also people who have trained as rural input distributors. They are very close to the extension agent. If I say we have 4 extension agents in each local government area. Then attached to each of the 4 extension agents, you have lead farmers. Those lead farmers also, they are also potential input agents. So for this profession, it's like if a policeman enters a local government area, you know where other policemen are. So we're going to be very open. We are going to publicize it so that people get support for choosing to do agriculture. Just like I've said that other people who have been sacked by the virus, they can't go away. We have to admit them in farming.
Why coronavirus has affected everybody, just as you have said just now. I mean, churches have shut down, businesses have shut down, even schools have shut down. You have ensured that agriculture is open. And then we have seen you almost every now and then going to all of these settlements, doing one thing or the other, flagging off different campaigns and the rest of them. But the question is, what protection, what measures do you have in place to protect these people who are farming, these farmers, to protect them from the virus? Because everybody needs to be protected. And then if we should guide against people that should come down with the virus, aside our health workers, our media practitioners, our farmers are also, part of those that should be protected from the virus. And because if they come down with the virus, we all are in problem because we will have shortage of food. So what is in place really to ensure that these farmers are also protected from the virus?
I think you've raised a very good question, And one thing we are doing is that we are leading by example. And if you have watched us wherever you go, we see that we are always protected. And in all our markets, I show the farmer market, this and that, you can't even allow you in unless your temperature is checked. You have wash station. And one of the things we are doing in all our visits to the big agricultural establishment is actually to advise them on COVID-19 compliance so that they take care of their workers. And one of the ways you can contaminate the rural area is actually through the input. So when this thing started, Mr. Governor approved for us a COVID-19 response plan for Ministry of Agriculture. Remember that in the Ministry of Agriculture, we are not new to virus. We've battled bird flu, which is actually cousins or distant relative to corona. So the Department of Veterinary Services is well equipped to combat corona. And we have a team, a COVID team. They are frontline agricultural workers too. They are the ones that decontaminated all the markets. And we have been doing it every 2 weeks. And every input that enters this state from another state, the strategy is that we meet you at the border. Yesterday, we were still at the border to take in the 10 tons of maize. We decontaminated the planting material, decontaminated the vehicle, and decontaminated the person. And then our frontline agricultural worker will take you to our warehouse and then lead you outside the state, no sleeping. So with that, we were able to take in all our inputs. And I actually share this with our international partners. In Ogun State, we have a strategy for doing that. And again, too, we're taking our enlightenment campaign to the farmers that go continue to do your work, but maintain social distancing and watch your hand. And then we're also linking them to primary health center, this and that. And I've already laid the first example myself when I visited my farm. And you must have watched it, it's running on Twitter. And I called my neighbors and said, fine, this is how you do it. And each extension agent, agricultural extension agent in the farm, they are multidisciplinary. They are able to give health advice. They are linkage of officers. If it's health problem, they link farmers to health. If it's money, they link them to money. If they're input, so we have the state covered by extension agents. Apart from police, the next profession that have the state covered, I tell you, is agriculture.
Extension workers.
Extension workers. Because the produce officers are there, so we are all teachers.
Yeah. Commissioner, one of the headlines that we discussed this morning, credit said to President Muhammadu Buhari, is that he said Nigeria must produce all the food required because there is no money for imports. Now, we know that one of the staples in Nigeria is rice.
Yeah.
What is happening to Ogun rice?
Yeah, I think Ogun rice is alive again. And like I've said in my previous interview, in Ogun State, we want to grow rice. We also want to do the business of rice. We want our young people to make money from rice. You can grow rice effectively in 8 states of Ogun State. And last year, even before the pandemic, we started by encouraging close to 500 youths in Obrapim and Woodley local government and other places to start their dry season rice. So one of the places I visited in Showme village was actually to flag up harvest of dry season rice from exciting Ogun youths. They're also using Ogun River, this and that. And then in Egua, as I sit and talk, about 1,500 young people are also taking charge of about 1,000 hectares of land that we have cleared. So we have big plan to grow our own paddy, because we might not have that privilege again, this and that, to be going to look for paddy in a Kebi, this and that. And if you grow rice, you must process. So we've taken in 2 rice mills from federal government, and investors, 2 or 3 of them, have also established rice mill that can also, mop up all the paddy. I'm sure they will also be planning to buy paddy from other states. So we are in business when it comes to rice. Our youths are growing it, and the CBN rice program is the next in line that will link people to next to cassava. Yeah. So we are ready for rice. But I want to tell you something. Productivity is the issue. The yield of rice nationally, averagely, for farmers, if you want to grow, is less than 1 ton. But we have a program to train the farmers so that their yield will be high and they'll be able to supply to rice milling machines. So our youths are ready for rice.
Ogun State is not in the north, but that is not to say we have not had our own fair share of farmers, herdsmen clashes.
Yeah.
What are you really doing, in this regard?
When we came in, what we did was His Excellency approved a committee, peace committee on farmers' headers. And they have 2 chairmen. Prince Dacholu, the chairman of All Farmers Association of Nigeria, he will be watching me, is a chairperson. The Seriki and the chairman of Mezi Allah, they are also joint chair. So this committee will work every day. And that's why you're not hearing some of the big things, the big issue you hear from this person, that person here. So we have a committee, and they are rapid response team. In agriculture, we must always be settling disputes because of competition for land, for resources. So our strategy in Ogun State is to engage, to dialogue, and to resolve issues. That's what we are doing. If you have the team, they work round the clock, 24/7. They are being supported with vehicle, with enforcement, and we have eminent people there that are ready to, because if you see some herdsmen damaging people's crop, they have leaders. If you also have farmers too, trying to harass, they have leaders. So you are working with the leaders so that we have, so there's one thing to enforce. There's one thing to promulgate law. But in communities and in agriculture, what will work best for you is mediation. And then if you have a case that's very bad, then we deal with it with full arms of the law so that people will learn their lesson.
All right, I guess that's why we are not really having, we've not really been having cases of farmers, herdsmen clashes in Ogun State, rampant these days. If you're just joining us, we're watching the Honorable Commissioner for Agriculture in Ogun State, Dr. Adeola Adedino. He's been talking about the activities of his ministry in the last 1 year, what his ministry has been able to achieve. He said so much in 40 minutes. Food security, job creation, strategic partnership, investments, and all of that. He's also spoken about the strategies Ogun State government has employed which has made the state very peaceful, between herders and farmers. We have like 10 minutes to go on this program, but we need to ask the commissioner, are you putting in place processes that will institutionalize all of these, so that, let's say, after 4 years of this administration, or 8 years of this government, that's politics anyway, what are the things that will be on the ground for incoming government, or any government that comes after your government, to actually pick up and do their own running?
Yeah, thank you very much. And I'm happy you are not the only person thinking along this line, because recently we received letters from CBN that we should document the progress we are making on cassava intervention, because as at present, CBN is only intervening in cassava in the state, and they are starting big, 27,000 applicants. Now they are saying, fine, we should document our activities so that you heard the Excellency saying we are running an exemplary anchor borrower program. So everybody in this world thinks that we are doing something great. So we are actually documenting our activities in the form of case studies, so that other people can learn from our experience. And you remember, we are just 1 year in office, and it's like, it's looking as if we spent 8 years. And I said in one of my interviews that if in what we have achieved agriculturally in this state within 1 year, somebody can even lay it down for 4 or 5 years here and say, see what I've done. So what we are doing is to document our activities. We are also engaging, that's why we are maintaining it among stakeholders. We are not working alone. Private sector people, they are with us. Private farmers with us. So these stories will be told by all. And again, we are planting. We need to be focused. We are planting now. We are still going to tender the crop. We're still going to marketing. We are still going to process. We still have a long way to go. As I'm here now, people are having their meeting on how to access credit for rice. The rice people are having their meeting now. It's imminent. In the next 1 week, they get their own funding and linkage. So, and what we are doing through agencies, through organizations, and our trainings, they are going on in respect of COVID. So we have, if you watch any of our training, it's actually COVID compliance.
Yeah, I was actually going to...
Exactly. And our extension agents, they are supposed to go to the rural area and do the same thing. 20 people at once. And then they'll go down and so the farmers, what they do, they have a way of watching you, even if you don't talk. So the way our extension agents enter the farm, that's the way farmers do. That's what they do.
Now, recently, Ogun State entered into partnership with a private aquaculture and then ownership of the largest tilapia fish farm in Nigeria.
Yes,
how big, how important is this?
You know, it's important because so many people do not know a lot of things about Ogun State when it comes to agriculture. Ogun State is the headquarters of agriculture in Africa, not even in Nigeria, because that was the largest tilapia farm.
In Africa?
Yes. Yes. That is the largest tilapia farm in Nigeria. And when you say something is the largest in Nigeria, it's just that you don't want to play with figure. It's likely to be the largest in West Africa and Africa, because we are the giants of Africa. Before I became the commissioner, I used to go and help African countries in cassava intervention. Where you have reached in cassava in Ogun State, it takes some African country 20, 30 years before reaching there. But why that place is important for us, we're planning a program to be launched by His Excellency, which is the Food Vanguards, 250 people per local government. We want the youth to be part of the response to COVID-19. So we are going to start a mentoring program for the youth, and we're going to be attaching them to big companies. So the companies will mentor them, and they jointly will produce for the company, and the company will buy. It's going to be very exciting. So when we do it, so ahead of that, we are visiting the big giants in food production that is located there. Please come and partner with our young people so that they do business with you. How can you impact on smallholder farmers? That takes us to that farm. And for your information, there are about 3 of them there. Durante is also in that place doing business. And the dam can supply fingerlings to any smallholder farmer. And the dam is still large enough that you can take 20, 30, 40 of investors from Ogun State. So we are happy that we expose that business to investors. And we're having calls from people from our state who want to invest. So soon we'll be having our investment promotion on fishery, on cassava, whereby if you want to do anchor grower, you are not a smallholder farmer, but you want to invest in agriculture. We want to be the person that will write your feasibility study for you. The person that will tell you where to make the money. So that's our role in the Ministry of Agriculture. We
now for those who are not captured within the anchor borrower scheme, those farmers who are not captured, do they also have opportunity to get loans?
Yes, because, for example, the people we are giving free planting materials to, they are not anchor borrower farmer, they are smallholder farmer. Anchor borrower farmer. And again, too, loan, they are financial products meant to meet specific need. The young people we are doing anchor borrower program with now, we are giving them 1 hectare. So if they succeed with 1 hectare, next year we are going to support them as commercial grower. Look at our broiler production in Odeda. That is the highest number of broiler you can give to a young man, 1,000 to raise. They will raise it first time, second time, third time, fourth time. In each cycle, they make 160,000. Those guys, next year, they are going to be raising 500,000 each, but we now link them to a bank. Banks have money, they have financial products, but they need return on investment. So if you are above anchor borrower program, come and talk to us so that we tell the bank that this is an investor. And most of the investment that you see, they are also being supported by banks. But banks want to see us behind you. Say, fine, we can help you organize young people that can produce. We will teach you technology. Because if without technology, you won't be able to pay back your loan. Even as anchor borrower participants.
Commissioner, we could go on and on. We are excited that the anchor borrower program has produced 2,000 rice farmers that are waiting now.
Now, they are in a better meeting.
Let's talk about tomatoes. The Kotopo Tomatoes Initiatives, are you planning to revive it?
Yes, I have been there the last 1 week. You've seen that we've cleared the place.
Okay.
We've cleared the place. I'll tell you that we have a program with European Union and German Foundation. And they are saying, give us 3,000 young people. We have a market in Lagos. And we're saying, fine, we will satisfy the market in Lagos, but now that the borders have been closed, we want to satisfy the market in Abeokuta, in Idiaba first. So that they can produce more, or people who want to join this profession because they have to, because of the challenge of COVID-19.
In 2 minutes, where will the agriculture sector in Ogun State be at the expiration of this administration?
Well, I think at the administration of this administration, we will have been able to use agriculture to provide jobs for people. We will also be a reference point in the continent of Africa on how to address food security.